Nowadays, it's relatively easy to find lists of ways to prevent burnout. But what actually helps when taking time off or doing less aren't options? Today, I'm going to talk to Dr. Michael Leach, an expert in psychology and counseling, about how writing a love letter to your organization can help with burnout. And at the end of this video, I'll share my own love letter and a how-to guide so you and your team can do this too. So whether you're a hopeless romantic or still looking for love, I hope you'll stick around. Hi, I'm Jason Broussard, a design principal here at Education Element. We believe schools grow when people grow and work with districts across the country to help them reimagine how they support teachers and leaders in innovative and responsive ways. To get more tips on teacher recruitment, training, support, and retention, be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out all our free resources on our website at edelements.com. As an educator, a step parent, and a caretaker to a terminally ill parent, these times have brought additional stress, anxiety, and even burnout. And I know I'm not alone. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Michael Leach. He's the Dean of the Texas Institute of Professional Psychology and the Director of the Richland Oaks Counseling Center. And for nearly a decade, Michael's also been my therapist. I got a chance to interview him, and we talked about how he defines burnout, how to recognize it, and one critical way to navigate burnout by reminding yourself of what matters most. Here's my conversation with Michael. How do you define burnout? It seems like when I do a Google search, when I'm looking for one common definition, a ton of things pop up. So really interested to know kind of how you would define burnout.
So burnout, as I think we're thinking about it in this programming, is that which we had hoped would be sustainable has lost its sustainability. The energy, the desire, the interest, the curiosity, passion, any of those sort of facets of our lives, be it professional or interest or community engagement, obligations with family and marriages and relationships. We hope that these sort of qualities are sustained across time. And they are dwindling, they are evaporating, and we need them in order to sustain, on some level, whatever work we're talking about. That's what I think about in terms of burnout.
What are some ways, maybe, I don't know if they're warning signs or body signals, mind signals, what are ways that our body tells us, we might not be in a place to sustain, as you mentioned?
Yeah. I can't say that it's every time I come to work, but for the vast majority of time that I do come to work and I'm opening my door and I'm turning on the lights and either opening the blinds or dimming the blinds or what have you, there is a aliveness in my body. It's not necessarily a giddy hyperness, like I'm going to Disneyland or something, but it is a vitality. And in that way, it's probably my chest is open and, my shoulders tend to be a bit more relaxed in terms of the body. And so when those things aren't present, I think I need to pay attention to those things, that something may be threatening my sustainability, my longevity here, that I just need to attend to. Not that it's necessarily bad. What would be bad is to not attend to those kind of changes. Is it a difficult patient or a difficult student? Is it there's some sort of competing desire? I both want to be here, but I also want to be somewhere else. Or is it something personal in my life that is still nagging, that can't be sort of compartmentalized or set aside? It can be a lot of things that's causing it. But when that sort of vitality of when I get to work, whether it's my physical office or get to the work, be it grading something or reading something or producing something, if there isn't some level of vitality, curiosity, a softness rather than a defensiveness and a closedness, then I think burnout is in the air and needs to be attended to. And so if I could implore any leader, is to find a way to cultivate and protect structurally and through relationship, the normalizing of the creeping of burnout, the need to attend to burnout, and to support any and all of the ways that help us move through it. And one of those ways is knowing burnout inside you. All my students, all my staff at the counseling centers, they all need to know who they are in a really deep and intimate way if they're going to be helpful therapists. And it's not because they need to share who they are in sort of a biographical way with their patients, but rather it helps them be empathic to a greater, wider range of human experience. And so when leaders know this burnout intimately within themselves, the teams that they're leading, they'll know that. They'll recognize it, even if it's not articulated explicitly. And then absolutely wonderful times of self-disclosure matter, because if you're leading a team, you can be just guaranteed that somebody in your team is already there. There is no reason to think otherwise.
I imagine these few months, almost a year, a lot of people aren't feeling softness, right? They are probably tensing up as they're approaching their work and their family and everything else that they have on their plates. What are ways that people can bounce back from this burnout?
First, much like in romantic relationships, when we can take some time not doing our work, but to address directly the burnout by reflecting on what was our first love about this work, about this profession. In romantic relationships, that's sort of like, what caught your eye in this person? What was the draw to them? What got flutters in your stomach? Or what did you find so humorous? And so often burnout is about the thing that we were so passionate about has been covered in layers and layers of other facets that we've agreed to do, that we thought we wanted to do, that was imposed upon us for a variety of reasons, but we've lost sort of contact or we've stopped relating with those facets of our first love. The things that in our profession, be it teaching or anything, that just made you fall in love, or at least the kind of love that caused you to push through coursework after coursework and student teaching after student teaching, and something propelled you to get to this point in your career. And to do some reflection and to do some cherishing or savoring of the thing or the things that really caused you to fall in love in the first place. And savoring is a really important psychological capacity and practice. I think one form of it is in what we are now often exposed to in terms of mindfulness. It's not quite exactly the same thing that I mean, but like a really great piece of pie, or a really excellent cup of coffee, or a really passionate kiss from a lover, or a really good poem, or a sunset, right? Or the experience of a light bulb going off in your own mind, or a light bulb that you have turned on in a student's mind. To savor it, to pause and pay attention to how that feels in the body, to kind of savor it in all the five senses. There's something profoundly inoculating or vaccinating toward burnout if you have a practice of savoring. If we're experiencing some burnout and need to bounce back from it, engaging in those kind of much like meditative or prayerful contemplations to savor our first loves.
One of the things from my conversation with Michael that resonated with me was the idea that we can't fix things if we aren't paying attention to them. It's important to take time to reflect and name how we're feeling. Sometimes paying attention to our feelings means not just reflecting on the feelings of the moment, but looking to the feelings of the past, specifically those experiences that brought us butterflies and made us fall in love with this work in the first place, which is why I decided to sit down and write a love letter to my job, which was a little harder than I expected. So I did what any Shakespeare would do. I opened up my laptop and I Googled how to write a love letter. I learned that an amazing love letter has 4 components: the moment you fell in love, the qualities you love the most, the imperfections that make you love them even more, and the hopes and dreams you have for the future. Dear Education, I'm writing this letter because lately I've been feeling exhausted, frustrated, and at times a little hopeless. It hasn't always been this way. I remember the first time I realized I loved this work. It was watching my students present their final projects at an exhibition for the first time. They were prepared, rehearsed, and dressed up, and honestly, I still don't know who was more nervous, them or me. But they crushed it, and their faces said it all. They recognized that they had done something special. Over the years, I've seen those same faces on teachers and leaders, trying something new, something innovative for the first time. Those smiles when it goes well and it works out, and those sad expressions when it doesn't quite work out as planned. Things are not perfect, and at times this work can feel constrained, overlooked, and undervalued. But even on the toughest days, I'm reminded that no one wakes up in the morning wanting to be a failure. And to succeed, it truly will take a village. I'm so grateful to be a member of the village, to continue to show up and be there, not only for others, but for myself. I know that we will continue to have ups and downs as we grow together on this journey. I'm committed to thinking outside of the box, recognizing my privilege, and making space for those voices, ideas, and perspectives that are often left out of this work. With all my love, Jason. Now that you've heard why I love this work so much, it's your turn. Whether you are wanting to yell your love from the rooftop or write it down, fold it up, and tuck it away in a drawer, we've created a how-to guide to support you with crafting the perfect love letter to your job. Are you a district or campus leader supporting a team? We invite you to share your love letter with your team and provide some space for them to do the same. Like any good love story, it's going to take a lot more than a letter to keep this flame alive. Navigating feelings like stress, exhaustion, and burnout is going to take some effort, and bouncing back won't happen overnight. For me, acknowledging what I can control and reflecting on my own journey and my own love story, the good, the bad, and everything in between, is one way that I'm bouncing back from burnout. Looking for more? The Education Elements YouTube channel, Twitter, and website have a ton of free resources for teachers, principals, and superintendents too. So be sure to check out the links and videos in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to check out my next episode where I continue this conversation on burnout with my yoga teacher. Be sure to share your love letters, and thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next time.